Hi everybody, I'm glad you're with me today. I bring you a new top 10 video. I feel like you guys seem to enjoy these types of videos that I do where I take a brand that I'm really familiar with and I break it down to my 10 favorite products. Or in the case of Physicians Formula, I did 5. I just felt like 5 was more warranted than 10 for that. But yeah, if you're interested in watching some of these, I've already done Wet n Wild, Elf, Maybelline, Rimmel, L'Oreal, and like I said, Physicians Formula. And today it's Milani's turn. Naming the 10 best products from the line, in my opinion. I'll be applying them as I go, and they won't be mentioned in order of like leading up to an ultimate favorite, but more so just in the chronological order that they would be put on my face. And what I try to think about as I'm naming these is not just like, oh, that's a really good product for Milani, but if it's included in this top 10, would that product stand up well against other products of a similar price? So I do put quite a bit of thought into it, and I'm so glad that you guys like to watch these. And by the way, if you watch a video of mine and you enjoy it, would you mind giving it a thumbs up? Sometimes I need to give this little reminder because sometimes I get a little lost in the algorithm here, I think. Been on YouTube since 2007, and the comments, likes, and shares really do make a big difference. And thank you so much to those of you who do that without a thought. Like, I so appreciate it. Just want to keep reaching people out here, okay? So I've got my skincare already on, and the first product that's a favorite for me from Milani is their Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Tint Stick. I wear this in the shade 05, and like I was just saying, you know, I'm considering favorites in the scope of how good is it across the whole drugstore spectrum. Could it hang with other things? This is definitely a favorite drugstore foundation stick, and I love trying foundation sticks. It's a format of product I really think is handy and convenient and easy, and they just did a great job with this formula. Something you'll notice when you have it, you have a lined cap here that's really like grippy to your tube. That matters. We don't want the stick drying out. They put an extra cap over the stick itself, and I think that matters also. They realize that this is a formula that maybe could dry out, and the fact that it has this beautiful glide is a definite key to why I like it so much. It's a beautiful glide. There's a thinness, but still a really beautiful medium coverage level with this. It makes me think a whole lot of my favorite high-end foundation stick, which is Fenty. That one I would say maybe leaves just a little more moisture on my skin, but the way it glides on so light and smooth, like this product is just great. I've loved it. I've used it quite a bit since, you know, initial reviews. And I just think Milani did a really good job. I'm trying blending it out with a sponge. I don't know how much I've really done that, but a brush blends it out really fine for me. I think if you choose a sponge, as is normally the case, you kind of get on the lighter end of the coverage level that a product can give you. But that's okay. I think this is beautiful. You can still see like a little glow popping off my skin. It is not drying at all, and you can just tell the way it glides across your skin. I love products that feel like they're thinning as they're applied or almost melting down. It's that kind of a thing. Fenty's is just leaving you with a little more juiciness in the end, but they are honestly very similar. Plan on medium coverage with this. It is somewhat buildable. Like if you want to see me take a little bit more on, let's say we want to get some more right in this zone. And what does that look like if you swiped it on with a more dense brush? Well, it can be layered and not look heavy. That's part of the beauty of the formula. But even with building, this is not a foundation that I consider going to that full coverage level. It's pretty much medium in the way I originally put it on, and then maybe a little stronger medium coverage if you choose to build it. But yeah, I'm really glad Milani put out a product like this because honestly, I'm not huge on their coverage stuff. The Conceal and Perfect foundation, the Conceal and Perfect concealer, I can use those products, but I feel like they verge on a little heavy and a little dry looking for my skin. By the end of the day, I'm a normal skin type. The translucent powder I feel like is kind of dulling and actually darkens just a little bit on my skin after application. So while I see Milani and I think they've got a lot of good face stuff, more of it, as you're gonna see, is the color products for me. But this is definitely a star when it comes to coverage. I'm gonna fill in a couple of blanks now with concealer and powder, and we'll be back to product 2 in the top 10. All right, I concealed my under eye. I used my L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour full wear in the shade Ivory, just on my under eye and a little bit around my nose, and I set it with my Maybelline Fit Me loose powder in Fair because I felt bad for that powder because I feel like I've neglected it in favor of that Wet n Wild Soft Pink powder. That one's just really had a hold on me lately. Number 2 product in my top 10 is going to be this Cheek Kiss Cream Bronzer. I think this is a very effective product. I really like the shade Spicy Season, but it's probably like about 3rd in line in terms of intensity. And I believe there's another richer shade than this too. It's about the blendability for me, the ease of use of this product. I feel like this formula really mimics the experience that I get out of some sticks that I find very user-friendly, but just put into this pan style format. And I use it with my Sephora 56 brush. I can go straight in here. And also by the time this particular shade is blended out on my skin, like look what I can do with it. I can just get some on my brush. It doesn't look like I'm being careful whatsoever, but the blending is so effortless. You can take a little bit deeper shade like this and really get it to work for you. Spoiler alert, the blush in this line is coming too, because I really just think Milani has done a very good job with this formula. They've got so many different blush options in this range. They've got liquid blushes, some of those I really like. Various kinds of powder blushes, one of those you're gonna see. But this Cheek Kiss cream idea, I just feel like they've done it really well. Look how you're putting it on and you're not really even paying that much attention to the exact amount. It's not about dots. It's not about the careful dotting on of a liquid. Here you feel like I can just kind of run with it, and because it's so blendable, it's all gonna work fine. I do really like the tone of their, I think it's in their Conceal and Perfect range. They have a little liquid contour that you can dab on. That's good. It's good. But this is an application I can just really enjoy. The packaging is really no frills, but it's just like, yeah, give me that pan of something in the right tone that's just really user-friendly, and I'll take it, and I'll love that. Number 3 in my lineup, still in the Cheek Kiss range, but these are the blushes, and they're just as easy to work with as the bronzers. I've really gotten into the shade called Nude Kiss. This is probably my most used one. Just soft, wearable, dusty rose type of shade there. But if you want something with a little more color punch, this is the berry one, Blushing Berry. There's a coral, and then there's one called Merlot Moment that's just a really nice, rich, reddish burgundy. It's the kind of thing on my skin tone that I'd wear pretty sheared out, but they're all great, like consistently across the entire line. I could grab for any of them and like the look that I get. So we're gonna start here with the Nude Kiss. This is also a Sephora 56 brush. And we're gonna dab it on real easy, you know, and if you don't want too much excess, just wipe off on your hand and then start your blending. Notice how I'm just pretty much stamping it in. This product is not requiring me to really grind in there with circular motions and, oh, let's get this blended. We're just dabbing over it and boom, we've got a beautiful blush. Dab in, dab on. There's the application. And then, like I said, in the interest of maybe not wanting to over apply, because there's probably still some product on this brush, just take some swipes on your hand and now it's as though you're blending with a basically clean brush. I don't know. I think my fears are coming true. So Biddy brought home this cute little like decorative hangy thing. She brought it home from school and I hung it from the light in our dining room area. I thought this isn't really a spot where the kittens could even dream of messing with this, but they might be up on the bar and launching themselves. I think that's what I'm hearing. I'm coming in with a little bit of Blushing Berry. So a little dab in. Let's keep this one kind of back this way, swiping off the brush. Look at the difference here, how we've added a little more pinkiness. This is without, that's with. The effects of a good cream formula are not needing to be too careful and applying with the confidence that, yeah, you can put that hot pink spot on your skin and you are going to be able to fully blend it out. I respect Milani for that. And these products have definitely steadily become more used and more loved by me. And you look at the way they stack up, like I said, within the whole makeup landscape, they're doing quite well for creams in the drugstore. Number 4 in my lineup, we're taking it back. We're taking it back to something that's been in Milani's range for a long time. Super high quality product that should not be overlooked. I am talking about their rose powder blushes. Pigmented, beautiful. I love all my shades. You've got romantic rose here. That would really nicely coordinate actually if you were trying to create a little look. That would look great over top of the Nude Kiss cream. But look at that beautiful product there. I mean, these have been around for a while. They're so good though. A brighter pink. This one's called Tea Rose. Let me open that. More of a pure pink. I think bubblegum when I see that. And then we have a coral as well here. This is called Coral Cove. This is a very loved summertime blush for me. Today today I'm going to layer on a little bit of this one. This is Tea Rose. So just to see the pigment, you're going to just sort of give your brush a little wiggle and you'll see the product there. They're very classic. Because they're a matte blush, I notice a little bit of blurring as they go across my cheek, but look at the added intensity, you know, and with this layering, I know I'm going to have good staying power today. But it was kind of tight as I was thinking about the powder blushes Milani has, and I know the baked blushes are popular, and I love some of the baked blushes, but if the baked blushes were going up against these, I would go for the rose powder blushes, really. I love some Luminoso, but it just doesn't do it for me the way these do, because the pigment is so here. Every color is perfection. Like, hard to argue with these, really. And you might say, well, the baked ones incorporate a little bit of glow, and that's cool and all, but Milani also has a highlighter that I'm absolutely obsessed with, so I'm not concerned as to where the glow is going to come from this brand. Yes, this brand is home to probably my all-time favorite drugstore highlight that I continue to use in this mini. Ulta must have been doing some kind of promotion years back, and I ended up with the mini size. This is their Strobe Light highlighter. This shade is called Afterglow. It's pearly, it's ultra pigmented, like it can be that highlighter that goes there and makes you look absolutely dewy and wet, or you can apply it very thoughtfully and lightly and just look like you've got this perfect, most radiant, soft glow. And this brand is home to several good highlighters. I like the baked one too, but this is still just like the one that has the most range, I feel like. Like I pop it on, and then you talk about cleaning the brush off. Don't apply too much and just gently buff over it. This is a Real Techniques setting brush. There's no like squirrely little particles in there that are gonna make it dry and crusty, flaky. You're just getting the pure high-end feeling pigment from a highlighter, to where you can look up close at my skin and not feel like what I just did there attracted any negative attention to pores or anything like that. If anything, it practically seems like it's blurring over the top. And I'd take a little bit and I'd get up here with it. It's a beautiful product. I feel like I pull it in pretty frequently to my videos, and I've had it on hand for such a long time. Long time, gorgeous fave from Milani, and yeah, I'll just keep using the mini as long as I have it. It does not take a lot. When you think about a product that you only have to touch into it a little bit, you're gonna have something like that for a long time. So she's a stud. That's a stud product. Hey guys, I'm back and I did my brows, and I used a little bit of Milani Make It Last setting spray. Now that product is narrowly just outside of my top 10, really. What kind of edged it out was just my mindset when I think of pulling for something that's really gonna make my makeup last. That L'Oreal Infallible 3 Second is so good in that respect. Now, if you don't like the aerosol nature of that or the hairspray smelling nature of that, then maybe you want to go to the Milani Make It Last. I think it's still helpful for staying power, but it's just not quite as good as that. But it's a good product. There are some great things from Milani that are still not included in the top 10, so that's just kind of how it is. But we're coming into number 6 now. We've gotten halfway through things, and it's the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. I know I have discovered in recent months that the Wet n Wild Mega Last Eyeshadow Primer also wears well on me. But this guy, there's nothing wrong with this, okay? It's still good. And in fact, what might make you edge toward the Milani over that one would be the thinness of this. I can get by with so little of this because I know it kind of just thins right out and covers the whole surface area I need. Just feeling ultimately lighter than the Wet n Wild on my lids. Another thing too is that this doesn't really conceal issues on my lid, and the Wet n Wild does do that a bit more. So you might think, well, I don't really care about that. I'm putting eyeshadow on anyway. But the Wet n Wild just gives a little bit more of, let's say, base color to your lids within that priming step. But this is the thinnest and the lightest, and I think there's something to be said for that as well, especially if you've got like kind of an aging eye area. You're not all about wanting to layer up multiple different textures. But number 7 in my lineup, first off, I want to say I feel like Milani has let go of a phenomenal eyeshadow product in the Most Loved Mattes palette, the Ungilded Most Loved Mattes. I could see that that was no longer available on their website, and it is a beautiful and wonderfully formulated selection of eyeshadows that go warm and also in kind of a rosy direction. They are so beautiful. They apply so nicely. That's a really top-notch, high-end quality product that Milani has, and they do seem to have some other larger palettes, the ones that are all about yay big and have Gilded in the name. It seems like you can't just find them everywhere, but they are listed on their website. Some of those are really nice, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily a home run for every single shade inside. The eyeshadow thing currently that I think Milani is doing best, not that I felt I had to name an eyeshadow thing, but these are very good. It's their Gilded mini palettes. These are great, really. You're getting 6 shades. It's a very manageable size. Granted, everything here is very neutral, safe color tones. For example, they've got this one called Whiskey Business. It's your full matte palette, and that's great. You know, this is a really good range going very light to very dark, but the perfect kinds of tones in between. I would definitely recommend this as a good all matte drugstore option, especially if you like a little warmth. Those mid-tones will take the look in kind of a warmer direction. Just used Champagne Problems in a video recently, but here's your bronzy, warmer combo palette with a couple of shimmers and the rest mattes. Cooler smoky vibe with the Call Me Old Fashioned. Here you're getting your 3 mattes here, here, and here. The rest are shimmers, and the pigment is good. They're very solid, consistent palettes if you're going to pick one up. And then we have a rosy and kind of a berry option here. The more rosy one is called It's All Rosé. This one, lighter all around. You can see you're not getting like one really dark shade. Your deeper shades come in the form of a mid-tone, so just know that. And then the wind down, super pretty. We got this dark wine color, several shimmers, and a couple of mattes right here. I think I'm gonna go with the wind down today just because I haven't used this one in a while, and I think it's a great little grouping. I'm gonna go to this shade right here. This is a matte, and we're just gonna throw that in the crease. I feel like with their little bit larger palettes, what I run into are just sometimes some feelings of shimmer overload. These little 6-pan palettes, they've done a good job of making them pretty well balanced. And 6 is maybe kind of an underrated size of palette because we hear a lot about trios and quads, but 6 gives you that little bit more versatility in the shades you choose to use. You don't have to use all 6 to create the look, but you got options, but it's not maybe as overwhelming seeming as, let's say, a 10-pan palette might be to some. I'm taking that light matte just really lightly on my brush because I don't need to be looking white straight up under the brow, but just a little bit on the edge. I might give it a little glow too. There's some shimmer in that next shade. Light shimmer. My kids are having a blast at school this week. There's different events and things every day. Brett had a glow dance party. They also made all the kids tie-dye shirts recently. I think today they got a bounce house. The next day is going to be PJ day. Biddy's gotten to have like a field day and Foursquare tournament. Belle had like bring a board game day, and they're making candy salad. Like, you know, every kid gets to bring something and dump it in the bowl. Those last days of school are really fun for the year. Next up, I'm going dark, baby. I'm going right down here with my Morphe. Still don't know the name of this. M303. They call it the Eye Packer. It's my larger size brush. And I just kind of realized, hey, they're not selling that one that I'm always using, so this is the new generation of it, I guess. And I'm just taking that really dark wine color. It's not so much purpley, because you might look at these palettes all in a spread and go, this is the plummy purpley one. Plummy to an extent, but it's coming off like the deepest brownish burgundy. But I like stuff like that. Part of why these were named in my top 10, the fact that in most of these, with the exception of the rosé one, you have an option to go dark. And even if you don't like to use it the way I do, it could be an eyeliner type of step for you. I'm patting that on the outer lid, reaching the crease, same shade, Profusion small pointed brush, create your shape. How do you want it to look? Do you want lift just kind of all over? Do you want more of a cat eye effect? You decide. Part of what's happening here is you've added a little bit of product to your brush, but you're also working with what was applied and blending that out too. My goal with this, for me, like, I'm wanting lift, so I'm wanting to take it above that creasy crease. When depth comes up over that, it is the look of lift. And then I'm going to take my slightly smaller flat brush, also from Morphe M302. I want to go to this guy right here. So this has some shimmer, like a shimmery berry, and I'm going to pat that over like the center part of my lid, giving us a little more rosy color to the look. Just patting. It's pigmented, it's not a problem. Just pat, pat, pat. It's not a flaky shimmer, don't worry. Then I'm going to clean my brush off and go to this next shade, which, if you want to know what that looks like, kind of glimmery, soft pinky. This is almost feeling like a glaze type of color, but the shimmer will pop some. applying that on the inner part of my lid. Sorry, sometimes I don't stop and check if I'm in focus before I just go at it. Patted it on. I don't know if you saw, but I got a little fallout out of that guy, but nothing I can't just sweep away. I would like to see some of my deepest shade just touch the lower lash line. I know I always talk about how this isn't the longest wearing approach, but also the softness is pretty, and it won't break my heart if it fades a little bit today. After Belle's tumbling lesson, all I got on the agenda tonight is just playing outside and heck, maybe even eating dinner outside and just having fun. We're now to number 8 and the final eye thing that's a favorite in this countdown. And I was just recently raving about this, but the Milani Stayput Tank Liner Pen, I have really come to realize now that I own it in black, how hardcore the staying power of this is. Like, back to the days of it could last through childbirth, like this will be the one remaining thing. After I've washed my whole face, there'll still be some remnants of this really trying and doing a good job of clinging on my lash line. You may need some eye makeup remover to take this guy off, but it's good to know that. It's good to know that you have something that it doesn't come off in a smeary way. So I'm just gonna put some of this along my lash line. It's also very easy to use. These pens stay juicy for a long time. The only reason I trashed my brown one was because I had used it in the vicinity of an eye infection and I just didn't want to risk reinfecting myself. So I just went across the upper lash line there. You could wing it out. I'm just not feeling a wing today. But it's very, very easy. You can work straight off the tip with this, or I could see someone kind of laying it down on its side. The tip is long enough to do that. And I store mine flat. And I feel like that's always been the best way to store liner pens. You might think, well, just go like this. Store them flat. I feel like it preserves the product the longest. Finished off the eye look, I used Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect on the upper lashes, e.l.f. Lash Extender on the lower lashes. And for lips, I've got 2 more spots left in my top 10. And this was really tricky because I think Milani has a lot of great lip products. I think they're really expanding their lip product range. I was actually recently sent a PR package and everything in it was like something that they sell with a plumping effect, you know? I love their Color Fetish matte lipsticks. Those are very good. I almost can't believe they're not in this top 10, but there's a couple things that I just think are even more outstanding, even more unique, I guess. I also really love the Color Fetish lip oils. Once they put those out in like some nude color tones, those are great too. But the first thing I'm going to mention at number 9 are the Keep It Full lip plumpers. These are awesome. These had fallen off my radar for a little bit, but honestly, I still feel the same way about them as I always have, and it's that they are the drugstore's take on Buxom. If you want to try a Buxom full-on plumping lip cream and you don't want to pay that price, look to the Milani Keep It Full line. So they call these Nourishing Lip Plumpers. A couple of really good ones. The shade Soft Rose is actually a really good nude. So I'm just going to put this on and you can see how surprisingly opaque this is. Look, if you're wanting a really truly nude gloss. Someone was telling me in the comments section I need to go back to like nude lips of the olden days, and this is probably on that level. There is a gentle cooling effect. It's very gentle. You can tell there's a bit of a minty scent as well, but it's just not quite as strong as Buxom. But really, I feel like it's the closest thing at the drugstore to a Buxom gloss. So I've got that nude one on there, and then I wanted to show you Rosewood as well. Rosewood, we're talking dusty rose, everyday kind of color. And the formula really hasn't changed. Like, this is a brand new one, and this is one I've had on hand for a long time, and they've really kept consistent. I love this color. Now, sometimes you can over apply. It's a pretty big applicator, like a buck foot style applicator, as I like to say. Not a doe foot. But look at that pretty color. That looks so pretty with this whole entire look, does it not? But good texture. There's a nice kind of thickness to these. They're gonna last decently well as far as a lip gloss is concerned, but it's a gentle, soothing, cooling plumping effect that's, again, if Buxom is up here with it, they're right here. And then the final thing in my top 10, and this is kind of a rediscovered thing for me, but I just think these are fantastic. The more I use them, the more I like them. The Color Fetish, they're called Hydrating Lip Stains. So you're gonna put them on, you'll see shine, you'll see a great color intensity at the start, and then even as that shine wears down, you actually get a very even, very consistent stain, like even later in the day. So hello, good morning. How did you guys sleep?
Good.
You both go, good. good. Okay, see you down there. But I just think these are a very impressive product. It's a great, like, no fuss thing to wear because later in the day, you're gonna have that color still on your lips, but in a thinner, lighter, stainy look, you know? Whereas when you first put it on, you're thinking, oh, glossy. Hard Candy put out these things called the Pop Tint Lip Stains. Those just kind of take me out of control with that initial color. It feels like it's just all over the place. Here, great applicators, very controlled application, and they don't feel like too much when you first put them on. In my last video, I was comparing these to the Teddy tints, which feel more moussey, a little thicker on the lips. These are very thin. So a couple of my favorite shades. My top two are probably the Mahogany Mommy, which is giving you kind of a toasty reddish mixed with a little brown type of look. And then I like Rose Rising for more of a pinky look. And I was thinking about applying the Bitten Berry shade today. Why don't I just swatch all three of these for you real quick. Top is Mahogany. The middle one is Rose, the bottom one is Berry. That's how they're looking when they're first put on. And now I'm gonna blot over these a little. Blot, 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 just literally dabbing over the top with a tissue. There's the staining effect. Granted, the longer that liquefied initial glossiness is on there, I think the more potent the stain actually becomes. But even for just immediately blotting off, like that's really good. I'm gonna do the Berry today. Any shade you go for in this stuff, I feel like they're very consistent. So you're gonna put it on, it feels downright wet and thin, maybe just a hint thicker than like plain old Benetint. The precise pointed applicator is everything. Blot it to my top lip, blot, blot, blot. If you see any excess, just remove it, smooth it. What you get here is really a dual phase lip product. You're getting something that's going to start off looking like this, looking a little shiny, like a really creamy cream lipstick or a gloss. And then later on, you've got a beautiful stain. The colors in this range, they all seem fairly intense. And I think it's for the reason of them actually leaving that stain behind. Because if one of these came off as a full-on nude or really, really light shade, I just don't think it would have the impact. So there's a lot of shades that I really like the berries and the deep pinks and things like that. But anyways, guys, I've taken up too much of your time already, but this is my Milani top 10. I'm very pleased with the top 10 that I named, although like I said, there are some great things just outside of my top 10. I kind of mentioned them as I went along. But let me know in the comments section if you've got any other products that you'd like to bring to light, think more people need to know about from Milani. Bisky's up here to say hi too. They're just a really great quality drugstore brand, and you'll find that their prices are maybe a little bit higher than some of the other brands that I rave about. So it might make you look at things a bit more critically and think, what do I really need? What do I want to try? Hopefully this sorted some things out. So thank you guys so much for your time. I'll see you again soon. I love you. Bye.